All right, so we back here once again, episode 70. Commanders in the chat. What's going on, Rob?
It's our first. We were post trade deadline. Something I think we were both
Yes.
looking forward to, which we'll get into in a minute. Um, I don't know if I'd say I'm feeling good, but I'm feeling something.
Yeah, it's kind of a very interesting because I think it is funny, before we get into the elephant in the room of Chase and Montez being traded. And it's funny because we talked about this last week. This was one of our topics last week. Which person that we thought was more than likely to become who was going to be traded, and we figured, I think, because you went with Chase,
Yep.
right, and I went with Montez.
Mhm.
Not to think in a million years that both of those guys would not be here. But it is what it is. So it's funny because, and I'll kind of break it down to kind of how we kind of conversed on Tuesday. So, we both kind of almost at the same time kind of figured the news about Montez Sweat being traded to the Bears um for to the Chicago Bears for a second round pick. So I was just I knew I was there was some source saying that they weren't done. So I went about my business, did my thing. Rob texted me and said for a third rounder. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, Chase. I was like, no. But yeah, so I was just, obviously it was Halloween, so I wanted to, I went out, ran some errands that day, and he texted me. I was like, oh. Then that's when I went glued to went on Twitter and looked at everything. But yeah, man. So now we got 48 hours now. Just your thoughts on as far as Chase and Montez being traded.
Montez, I like the deal we made for Montez. Second round pick. It's a likely to be a high second round pick. Something we talked about through text.
Yeah.
I'm thinking somewhere in the probably 35 to 40 range. So now at this point, it's looking like we could have two of the first 10 picks in the second round, um, with our very own pick, which right now is looking like it will end up being a higher draft pick. The Chase deal, oh, I was frustrated. I was mad. I wasn't mad that we traded him. I am okay with punting on the season. Like I understand that part, and I'm okay with it. Um, but a third round pick for not even, and it's the what's the word I'm looking for? The
Compensatory.
compensatory third round pick.
Yeah.
So it's not even their actual third round pick. It's whatever pick they're gonna get from whatever free agent they lost this past free agency period. It's for whatever reason, this team, Ron Rivera, loves he has a soft spot for the 49ers organization, and I'm not sure why. Because I saw a tweet the other day that said that the 49ers have now gotten from this organization Trent Williams, a number 5 overall pick, and Chase Young, a former number 2 overall pick. And this team has gotten 2 third round picks and a fifth round. Now, Chase, you can make the argument he's hurt coming out. He's still kind of not really recovering, but he's still probably dealing with that ACL. He's not going to be 100%. He had that stinger early. He suffered in preseason, missed the first game against Arizona, came back against Denver. But Trent Williams
Hmm.
was arguably at this time the best left tackle in the entire league. And we got a third and a fifth for him. This team loves getting fleeced by the 49ers. Again, I'm not mad that Chase Young got traded. I was hoping more people would get traded. I wanted to complete, burn the building down, start from scratch. And at first I was everybody but Terry. And then I kind of came around and was like, you know what? Throw Terry in there only because he deserves better. He deserves to go to a winning team. So Montez, I like second round pick. Chase, I wish we could have gotten more for him. but I'm glad that we traded him. I'm glad that this kind of signals to me the beginning of the end. I was hoping that the day ended with the news of Ron Rivera getting fired. I know I texted you. I was curious as to how much a role Ron Rivera had in making these personnel moves because I wasn't
Yeah.
fully comfortable with him having a heavy role. Turns out the ownership was very big into making these getting these deals done, which to me kind of shows. I think in 70 to 96 hours, come Sunday night, Monday morning, we could be looking at Eric Bieniemy as the interim head coach of this football team.
It's a possibility. And especially it all really contingent on how Sunday plays out. But I think obviously, I think the Montez one. I think it's funny, because we talked about it last week where he was the one that was getting the most offers as far as deals, and you look at like what Chicago pretty much was the highest bidder. I mean, obviously, you think if, you get somebody like a Montez, what you normally would think a team that's contending that only need that final piece would have got like a guy like Montez Sweat, but you got like a Bears team, which I know a lot of people think that's not a bad, and that's a bad deal for them. They can franchise him next year, so he'll still be on the hook for them for another that. And yeah, think about it. They have 2 first-round picks, so them losing a second-round pick is not that bad in my personal opinion. So I do kind of feel for that. And then I think the Chase thing. I think, like I said, I didn't mind him being traded, but like him going to San Francisco, to me, like you said, that's just another one where I instantly thought about Trent Williams. Well, we literally traded him for next to nothing. I think we traded him for like a fifth-round pick.
So third and the fifth.
Third, and a fifth. So it's like it's just one of those things where it's just like it sucks, but we kind of knew this was going to happen. I mean, honestly, not saying both of them, but we knew as far as especially keeping 4 defensive linemen, you know, in this rotation from a salary cap perspective. Because I remember our first year when we covered it, we thought Deron Payne was going to be the quote unquote the cap casualty of all of the 4. But obviously they signed him, because obviously we thought that the whole spat with him and Jonathan Allen in 2021 was going to be like the end. We didn't think he was going to come back, but obviously had a great year, coming back in 2022 and then got that money. We talked about this too. I don't think it's kind of one thing where we were leery about they didn't pick up Chase 5th-year option. Yeah. We knew we was like, and we even said, I think even our first episode back, that we thought Chase was going to get traded. Like it wasn't like something where it was like none of this was a shock, because we knew like the way the casualty, but unfortunately, you look at who I think really was a casualty of this was Montez Sweat. I think it's just one of those where, and then now you look at Chase or his situation. That's a loaner for San Francisco. So now I'm really curious about his long-term future, where he's going. So, he'll make great dividends for this 49ers team. This might be one of those moves that could potentially put them over the top. I think if they remain healthy, it's definitely, we talked about another person that needs, that's contingent on San Francisco winning, Trent Williams. I think you could attribute his absence and the struggles with Brock Purdy these last couple of games. So you get him back. If McCaffrey's 100%, well, he's not gonna be 100%, but McCaffrey is at a decent clip, and then you got Debo. This team definitely can be and then it's funny to think we thought the homecoming was gonna be for Trent on New Year's Eve. Oh, it's Trent and Chase, so it's just like but it's, and I think it's just a lot of it too, and that's one thing with this about this type of stuff. It's like you understand from perspective it's a business. But there is, we grew fond of these guys. It's just one of the things where it's like everybody, when you're part of an organization, obviously, you hear stuff about guys, and everybody has a story, and I know I gravitated. I definitely to Montez, especially at the, the situation that transpired with his, with his brother a few years ago, and then Chase, the hometown kid, So you one of those where it's like had great storylines, guys that you can really root for. And I know this is gonna be definitely a tough in the locker room. The day they a lot of people saying there was like you could hear a pin drop and Ashburn. It was kind of a little different. But yeah, these more guys that were like, oh, we hate these guys and just get them out of here. I mean, they were well liked and well loved in this locker room. So very interesting. And then I think the simple fact of now we have 9 draft picks. That's a first. I don't think we ever had that many draft picks that I can remember. And
Yeah,
so
it's been a while.
yeah, and I think that's going to be attractive to the new head coach. 9 first, 9 picks, and then $90 million in cap. So I definitely think, like I even said on my show yesterday, if you look at it on the surface, and I don't know who's going to get fired other teams, but this starting to become a really attractive place for a coaching candidate to kind of sort off the year. I mean, you literally can almost pretty much have a blank check in the sense, and you can kind of turn around this team in the sense you got 90 million cap, and then plus those draft picks, you definitely turn around this team to the specifications that you want, and hopefully the general manager hires you. So, but
And
remember,
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's, to me, is a big deal, because I see a lot of Washington Twitter talking about who the next head coach is going to be. But I'm more concerned with who the GM is going to be. I want the GM first. Let the GM let the GM be the GM. Let the
yep,
GM go get the coach. Then he feels he can have a relationship, not the other way around, because we saw what happened
yep,
when we let the coach hire the GM. We're in the situation we're in now.
yeah, yeah. And that's one thing I never understand that concept of how people don't understand and don't get it. That's why I like if and I know, and that's the thing I hate about like sometimes in the NFL, where a lot of people want to reinvent the wheel, but you have the recipe to be successful. You look at like what just happened with San Francisco. They hired John Lynch, and Lynch and Shanahan are like connected at the hip. And that's what happens. And they both were signed to 6-year deals. So it was like, hey, if this don't work out, both of y'all, it's y'all in this together. And I think that's what we have to do here. Like you said, don't put the cart before the horse. Be smart. Get the GM. The GM makes the hire. And as simple as that. Don't like you did this year, like you did with Ron Rivera. You hired him by himself, and first couple of drafts he drafted by himself. So yeah, and what yeah, huge shout out to that guy Kenneth. This Thursday night game is awful. Glad to listen to you guys talk about Washington giving up on the season. I don't know, they ain't quite giving up, but it's getting there. It's there. It's
Look,
interesting.
I'm gonna be honest
Yeah.
with you. I think the team is giving up, because you
I mean,
can't.
they have, yeah,
I think
in a
they're
sense.
in full punt mode. They're in full rebuild mode now. You trade away your two best pass rushers, two most athletic pass rushers, um, for one of them, essentially pennies on the dollar. I think
Yeah.
Josh Harris is in full punt mode and about to do a complete rebuild, because I read something that the ownership was heavy handed in making the deals, because I think Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew didn't want to trade, I think, Chase Young, because
Mhm.
they still think that I don't think they want to trade anybody, because they still think they have a fighting chance at doing something, which is just asinine and childish at this point. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
Josh Harris, mainly Magic Johnson as well. I think he had a big part in it too. And this ownership group is ready for next season.
Yeah, because and I understand what Ron Vera and Mayhew how they felt, because we're literally getting rid of assets and pretty much they're not going to reap the rewards of the 2024 draft picks. So yeah, of course we know they were in favor of this because they want guys that can make an impact today. But Josh Harris like, hey, we wait for these guys in 2024, and it just makes sense because I think these two guys could have potentially walked. But like you said, to a point where if you had a fighter's chance, you would have just took that chance of saying, "Hey, you know, yeah, that essentially that we'll just take our chances." And but at least we're at a point like San Francisco is a perfect example. I don't think they're gonna re-sign Chase Young, but they know, hey, we could get him now at this point. We really don't lose a pick, so it's just like, why not? He can walk, and it wouldn't even bother us, But they're in contention to potentially win a Super Bowl versus us, 3-5 and 0-5 and 0-3 in the division.
Yeah.
A stark difference.
Yeah.
But and it's just one of the things where it's just like it's just very interesting. So yeah, so of course, and it's very interesting. So I I thought this was a joke at first. You know how like when you're on Twitter, you're like, okay, what on earth is going on? But hearing this out of Mike Floria's mouth kind of made me like really, really scared about this, and I don't like the situation. So there has been a rumor, and this is that the potential new head coach for this Washington Commanders team would be Bill Belichick, but obviously we would have to get him via a trade. So, uh, your thoughts on this rumor?
Hate it. Hate it. I hope it doesn't happen. I will do everything in my power, which is really just tweeting at Magic Johnson daily, to not let this happen. Look, I don't want to go down this road again of having an old coach that the game has passed up. We have that with Ron Rivera now. Bill Belichick is proving that that's what he is. He can't win. He hasn't done anything since Tom Brady left. The game has passed him up. It it keeps passing him up even further and further quicker. It seems like every week that goes by. Except this week. I think this Sunday he's going to look like an absolute genius. He's going to look like the Bill of old. But we'll get into that later. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't want it to happen. I want a GM to go get these because the trend of the NFL right now is a young offensive minded head coach. You look at what the Rams did with Sean McVay, his 1 year as OC here. They went and nabbed him instantly as soon as they could. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win. And then it seems like if you're looked at as an offensive genius or just a creative offensive minded play caller, you're going to get those chances early, i.e., Matt LaFleur was under Sean McVay's coaching tree when he was in LA. And then you look at the Bengals, Zach Taylor, he was like the quarterback's coach. It wasn't until recent that you see things like that happen, going from a quarterback's coach straight to a head coach in the NFL, and then succeeding as quickly as he has. In the second or third year, gets a Super Bowl appearance. Second year gets a Super Bowl appearance. And then third year, you're right back in the AFC title game with on the final drive with a chance to go back to the Super Bowl. We need a young offensive minded head coach. I know the guy from Detroit, his name comes up a lot, but don't go get a defensive minded head coach. I don't want one of those again.
Yeah,
Go get yourself an offensive guru. Or even if you want to stick with Eric Bieniemy, like like I said, fire on Sunday night, Monday morning. Let EB take over. See what he has. If you like what he has, remove the interim tag. If you don't like what you're seeing, then you go out and get one of these young offensive minds and let them put a squad together. But I do not like the Bill Belichick idea at all.
I hate it. I mean, I hate it with the capital H. Like it's to a point where I'm gonna be 100% real with you. Be God honest truth. If the Washington Commanders hire Bill Belichick, you know it's gonna be some has to be trade involved. There will never be a Commanders in the chat ever again. This we will cover another football team, but we damn sure not gonna do this shit show that is the Washington Commanders if this happens. I'm to a point where that we've been through 3 name changes. This would be the final straw where I will literally draw this line and say, you know what? forget this team, and I don't care what nobody got to say. I know, oh, you too old to be changing teams, but no, when you do stuff like this and you're doing something backwards, you already have a coach now, and in most of our personal opinions that the game has passed him up. And what you gonna do? You gonna get a guy that's 12 years older than Ron Rivera, and like I think I was listening to the junkies, and they like Bill Belichick is Ron Rivera without Tom Brady. And I was like, that is the greatest comparison ever because it's the truth. And I'm like, if this happens, this is where it's so much stuff that's happened in this organization. But if this happens, this would be the end of this of me even talking about the Washington Commanders, like for real. Like it would piss me off if it happens.
It's gonna be interesting because again, it's a Josh Harris thing. Josh Harris apparently really likes him, and he is the managing partner. He is the person who gets the final say and hires. But
But
oh man, yeah,
and the sad thing about it, I say all this, but the because at first initially I thought about not talking about this, but then I started thinking to myself, a lot of things are aligning that this could potentially happen, and it's really like scaring me. It's almost to a point where it's keeping me up at night. One of the dominoes, Josh McDaniels gets fired. He gets fired. Then I forgot about all this, and this is the crazy thing about it. Now, Bill Belichick, remember, he signed an extension.
yeah.
He just signed like an extension. So part of me is like, why would you sign him to an extension after he's had this horrible season? At that time, that offense was anemic. It was averaging like 10 points a game. And you're signing him and I'm thinking to myself, that sets up for if he goes somewhere like Washington, where we're gonna have to cough up the assets. What I thought was going to be attractive to a budding head coach, now you think to yourself, you have sweetened the pot by adding a second round pick from Chicago, and then our third round pick, and then the compensatory pick from San Francisco. Are we giving these picks to New England? And I'm telling you, these type of stuff. I'm telling you, when there's smoke, there's fire. I know this sounds really crazy, but like when Mike Florio kind of started talking about this, I'm like, oh boy, this can be frightening. This is kind of one of those where it's like I don't like where this is going, but this might happen. And it's like the reality of it is kind of like I don't even want to put a percentage on it, but it's kind of one of those where it's just like, ooh, this could get sticky. There's a distinct possibility, and this makes me leery.
Yeah, because we sit here and talk about what a terrible drafter Ron Rivera is, and Bill Belichick. Let's be honest, he's just as bad. He got lucky 1 year with Tom Brady. He he hasn't really had first round picks during the time that he did have Brady, but you look at some of them. Logan Mankins turned out to be one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play the game, which is dope coming out of Fresno State. Um, but you look at some of the ones he's had recently. N'Keal Henry hasn't really didn't do anything there. He's in, I think I remember him being in San Francisco for a little bit. I don't know if he's still there. He doesn't draft first round picks very well. And that was okay when you had Tom Brady and you were drafting 30, 31, 32 every single year. But now you're drafting in the top 15. Right now he's at 5. If the season ended today, he'd have the 5th overall pick. You have a top 5 pick, that pick, and that's your pick, not trading, not somebody gave you your pick, and that's their record. Like like we saw the Eagles last year come off a Super Bowl appearance and then still have a top 10 pick from somebody else. That's your pick. That means you're not a very good football team. That means your 5th overall pick has to hit. Bill Belichick is not a great drafter. and I want nothing to do with him.
Ditto, ditto, for sure. And yeah, heavens no. But and I found it coincidentally, all this is circulating, and we are actually playing the New England Patriots this week. So we're going to our preview of our Week 9 matchup versus New England Patriots. It's going to be a nice toasty day in Foxborough, 60 degrees. Did not think for a November 5th game we'd be going up to Massachusetts and it'd be 60 degrees. But hey, it's a good thing. So what's your storyline to watch in this matchup?
As funny as it is this the beginning of the end for Ron Rivera? Because again, like I said earlier, I believe the trading, um, of not Jamar Chase Young and Montez Sweat signifies that ownership is ready to give up on the season, and they're planning for next season. They're trying to get those draft picks for the next head coach, the next GM, whoever it may be. So, is this the beginning of the end for Ron Rivera? I believe that it is, because without a pass rush, um, kind of not really. If you're going to give Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, whoever ends up being quarterback on Sunday, time to throw, they're going to carve up this secondary. Any quarterback that has time to throw against the secondary is going to do well. And does Ron Rivera follow in the fate of his predecessor? Jay Gruden, 2019, fell to, I believe, was it 0-5?
0-5, yep, 0-5. Yep.
After losing to the New England Patriots, and then the following day, I woke up to the da 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 da. That was literally what woke me up, and I looked to see breaking news: Jay Gruden fired. And at the time, I was happy. I'm not anymore. I wish he was still our head coach at this point. Yeah, it's history has a funny way of repeating itself.
And I got another scary historical thing. Well, I got a couple of them. And this could potentially happen. Now it gets to it like this should have been a Halloween thing, because this spooked the hell out of me when I thought about it. Because now we're bringing the Bill Belichick angle of it. So remember, in that same season, out of the 3 wins that we had, we went down to Charlotte and beat the Carolina Panthers that were led by Ron Rivera. And what ended up happening the day after that, he gets fired.
He got fired.
And 3 weeks later, we hired Ron Rivera. And I'm thinking to myself, will this happen again where Ron Rivera gets hired? We hire Bill Belichick. I'm just like, oh my God. Is this gonna be like how when Alex Smith beat us in Arrowhead in 2017, and now he becomes our head coach? I mean, not a head coach, but our quarterback.
Became our quarterback. Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, dude, like this can't not happen. Like, I'm sorry, this cannot happen. Like, this cannot happen.
I don't like where this is going.
I do not, and I'm to a point where. So another spooky stat. So, Rob, where were you on October 13th of 1996?
Let's see. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
So I was probably in a packing place somewhere. Oh no, 4 years old. I was probably running around doing some knucklehead stuff.
Yeah, and you might have enjoyed the last Washington win in Foxborough. That was the last time that the Washington Redskins have won in Foxborough. Was October 13th of 1996. Well, wow. Gus Farratt led us on a nice day in Foxborough to a victory. So it has been 27 years since we won in New England.
Wow.
Crazy, right? So that it is. That's crazy. That is bizarre. Like 1996, I might have been like in the 7th grade. So I was like in the 7th grade. So yeah. And then I think you said now I look at it. life now at the Chase and Montez. Now, it's one of those where it's just, and you want to see how this team, kind of rebound. I mean, because like we talked about it, we're really gonna find out about this. Well, and we say it every week, but now another thing of adversity where, two guys that were loved in this locker room that now no longer here. So how will this team respond to that? Because I mean, understand that people we understand it's the business aspect of it, but when it comes to they're still in the people business. We all forge relationships with people, and when they're gone, it is a change, it's a void. Not saying I know people, not saying they no longer with us, but when people fail to realize when you work with people, especially like they do, and they work put in hours and hours of with each other, and to a point where they probably see them more than they see their families at times, especially during the regular season. So yeah, I mean these things like, and I know people always this whole cliche of they're gladiators stuff. We're still people. We
Still
all
people at the
people.
end
We
of the
all
day.
right. Like my boy Rob said the other day. Take your kids out trick or treat early. Don't let them be. Don't
But
let
hey,
them be. Don't day. Big facts. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we all are humans. We all kind of, that's what the human experience is. It's forging relationships, and it's kind of interesting how this team is going to respond after, losing, two of our, young, bright, guys, as far as on the defensive side. So yeah, yeah. So what's your matchup to watch this week, Rob? What you got?
I like the. I'm not going with anybody actually on the field. I'm going Eric Bieniemy versus Bill Belichick.
Mhm.
Eric Bieniemy's offense played great last week. They got the offensive line ready. The changes that they made seemed to work. Also with getting the ball out quick out of Sam Howell's hands, all that worked well together. It made for we were up pretty early. We got up early. Just wasn't able to hold the lead. So I think with what Eric Bieniemy might be able to do against his Bill Belichick defense, who's always had a great defense for the most part. That's one thing he does still have is he's still to me is a defensive genius. So that chess move, the adjustments, the audibles, the substitutions that they're going to be going back and forth doing, that is the one and only thing I'm excited to see this weekend.
Yeah. I think mine's gonna be Sam Howell versus the New England Blitz. You look at how effective Sam Howell was last week against Phillies Blitz. I think he went 12 for 14, 100 over a little over 140 yards and a touchdown. Good quarterback rate on that one. Now New England, they have a fierce pass rush in the sense that they blitz 37% of the time. So I definitely think we're going to see, especially the way our running game is in a sense. I definitely think they'll have an opportunity to kind of throw the kid to sink at us and kind of just want to see what Sam does. And like I said, they did a great job last week against Philly, where they only allowed one sack. So, that's kind of one of those things where I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they can do. So, yeah. So, your X factors in this matchup with the Patriots.
Oh, I think it's gonna be Brian Robinson. I think that because Eric Bieniemy got asked in his interview the other day, or I think it might have been earlier today before practice, asking about the run game, and they kind of seem to abandon it because even in the last game against Philly, Sam Howell threw 52 times, and you see that when you're playing from behind a lot, but we were leading most of the game. So the fact that Sam Howell threw 52 times is kind of concerning. Um, Eric Bieniemy did make a comment. He kind of made a joke about he blames Andy Reid because he comes from like the John Madden school of coaching, and when in doubt, air it out. And he said he's going to get back to the run game. So I think I fully expect Brian Robinson and maybe more so Chris Rodriguez to be more involved in the run game, as he was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it, it's to my X factor is going to be Casey Hill and James Smith Williams. I think those are the two guys that are essentially going to replace Chase and Montez. Where they're another one where they're on a contract year, so this is a great opportunity for them to kind of prove it. You know, like what our boy Smooth said, Casey 2 sacks.
Yeah.
But yeah. And he's another one. I think he's definitely has he's been doing this thing as of late. So and I think that's one of those in Mac, if you get them flustered, like last week, they got him flustered. Miami got him flustered last week. And so you look at the situation where I think if we can kind of get home and get kind of Mac disoriented, I think that's gonna definitely be one of those where I think we can capitalize, because I think both, and it's crazy because both of us, our running games have been suspect as of late. So it's kind of one of those where, and that's where this matchup scares me, because a lot of the inconsistencies I've seen in Chicago, Giants matchups that we've had in the past, almost eerily similar. And it's almost like this is kind of one of those games where it really like it's gonna be interesting. But yeah. And any Patriots X factors?
To be honest, I can't even name a single
Yeah,
player. Now, I know Juju. I don't think Juju's playing.
yeah, I think
I mean,
yeah,
it honestly would have to come down to Mac Jones. Mac Jones being able to air it out against this defense, against this pass defense that has not looked good at any point in the season. So if Mac Jones plays well, if he plays slightly above average, I think he's gonna have a good day.
I feel you, because it's because with this team, it's just that's like my answer, Mac Jones as well, because I think he could definitely like exploit this pass defense if he has an opportunity. And because who you really got on this Patriot squad? I mean, you think? I mean, I don't like. I mean, this is a different team. This ain't this. It ain't Tom Brady no more. So
Yeah.
he'll be the X factor, or Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, or
Yep.
other guys. Lawrence Maroney, clock killing, Corey clock killing Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
This
it's
is not your father's Patriots team.
not at all like this one. My goodness, this is a bear cabinet, bear you know bare necessities cabinet. But hey, they still dangerous though.
Yeah.
That's the thing about with us. When you think you got something,
Because
and
two
it be your
things.
worst game. Yeah.
Because two things. One, Ron Rivera likes to play down to the competition, and we
Yep.
know we're a better football team, even without our two best pass rushers. We're still a better team, talent wise, top to bottom, than this team.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, Ron Rivera does not like to get his teams ready to play for those types of games. And also, Bill Belichick does like to get his team ready. For whatever reason, Bill Belichick still has something.
Yeah.
Offensively, the game has passed him up, and he's not getting the right coordinators to
Yep.
really help that out. But defensively, he still has it. He's still going to cause problems, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup.
For sure. Yeah. And like you said, it's just because on paper, this team should win this football game. But like I said, the matchups that I've been the most confident in, we've lost. And that's the crazy thing about all this. And like you said, yeah, I mean, we could have had anybody under center, and we could win this football game. Even your boy, Kyle Allen, could have came up in this thing and Foxborough and won this thing. But we shall see. But nah, but all seriousness, you're right, because I think that's like you said. Bill Belichick had his team ready. It's like you said, it's something about that psychological warfare type of situation that's going on. He'll find it, and like you said, Ron Vera, he'll be just unemotional just sitting there. Like, what was it? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He had a towel around his neck, and I was like, man, yo, this dude just, I was like, dude, this dude just chilling.
Yep.
This man is like with no emotion. I'm like, dude, like, it's funny to me. I'd be like, man, yo, this dude just be chilling, just be like, hey, whatever, it don't even matter. But so got going to our keys to a potential fourth victory of the season. What do you got? What are your keys?
Don't let Ron Rivera get on the team bus.
Oh Lord! All
Um,
right, you can do a James Harden. Like, what you gonna do? Like,
yeah,
remember last week, James Harden couldn't get on the plane.
yep. Um, in all honesty, man, keys to a win is, and we say it every year or every week. Say it every week. Get off to a fast start
Yeah,
and show that you can keep it. Um, make correct defensive adjustments. That's pointed towards Jack Del Rio. He obviously does not. Um, I, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a lot of faith in this team. I don't. I'm not very confident in them. But I think, like Ron Rivera, like the sign Ron Rivera put up a few weeks ago, do your job. Just do your job again because you are a better football team than what you're about to see on Sunday. I don't care who the head coach is. I don't care about all the history. I don't care about the banners. The dude that got them the banners isn't even there anymore. He's in Florida right now, chilling with his new girlfriend. Don't worry about any of that. You are a better team. Do your job. Be where your feet are, and you should not have a problem with this ball game.
yeah. You know, and he, hopefully we'll have him being like, like Rick Pitino. Larry Bird isn't walking through that door. Tom Brady's not walking through that door. But I think the key, get everybody involved offensively. Like, I mean, you look at like last week, which is such a great display. Obviously, Sam Howell having 4 touchdowns. He spread the ball around. You look at guys like, even Jameson Crowder. I think he had like 7 targets and 7 receptions. I'm like, he was on a roll. Terry scored, Logan scored, and then also Jahan scored. So I think that's one thing too. Have that nice balanced attack, and I think that's one thing too. I think that's something that we need to keep going forward offensively. Just keep that balanced attack. Pretty much keep Sam Howell upright. Throw the football. Like I said, the thing about it is, I want him to keep throwing 40, 50 times. I definitely hope that this running game can improve. And please, Washington, because they only scored 21 points once this season. Please do not make a statistical record. Please don't make us a stat that we're gonna be embarrassed come Sunday afternoon. Hold these boys to 21 points. If you hold them down to 21 points, I mean, hold them to less than 21 points, you're gonna win this football game. But if they get more than 21, I'm done.
Which I think is we'll get into it in a minute. I guess
Yeah,
that's the segue, right?
yeah,
That's our
that's a
next.
segue. Yeah, so yeah,
There you
we'll do
go.
that. Yeah, so we'll go to our prediction. What you got, Rob?
Um, I think it's going to be a relatively close game. But again, I don't have faith in the team. I think Patriots going to win this ball game 17-14. So they won't get to the 21. So you'll be happy about that. But we
Yeah,
won't. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to 21. I think Bill Belichick is going to shut this offense down.
I don't know. I got a weird feeling about this football game. I don't know. It's something. I'm telling you, when Ron Rivera's back against the wall, he gets it done in a weird way. And I don't know. It's weird. Something about Ron Rivera in November is kind of like weird. I just hope that obviously Ron Rivera, he doesn't have his magic come December, come January, but he does have some little bit November magic. Call me crazy, But I think the Washington Commanders are gonna win their first game in Foxborough in 27 years with a final score of 27-14. Call me crazy. I have not jumped off the wagon quite yet, but
Well, I'll be down here when you're ready. So
hey, I'm
let me
hey,
ask you this
yeah,
though.
yeah.
So is this the start of Ron's his annual 4-game win streak?
No, I don't think so. I think this is supposed to be. I think what's happening because this week has just been so crazy and hectic. Obviously, we go up west next week against Seattle. We come home to the Giants, and then we got a short week against Dallas on Thanksgiving. Then Mike McDaniel's come to town. Nah, nah. Like realistically, he's either gonna get fired, I say, after Thanksgiving or after that Miami game. Because at least from that bad, and then you think to yourself, okay, um, ain't not Bill Belichick. Oh Lord, Eric Bieniemy. He can at least coach 4 games, if possible, if he's named interim. Because I think there's going to be some embarrassing losses, and I think if they go back home and they lose to the Giants on the 19th, I don't, but I don't think they will fire him on a short week. I think if we play Dallas that Sunday, if we didn't play Dallas Thursday, and we might have played them that Sunday after Thanksgiving, then I think he would have got fired at that Giants game. But I definitely think it's either going to be against Dallas on Thanksgiving or Miami. If he can survive December 3rd, I think if he can survive past December 3rd, he'll just get fired on January the 7th. I mean January the 8th. But yeah, because I think if we win here, we head west, we play Seattle. I think we might lose that game. I think we might lose the Giants game. Dallas, out at home. Thanksgiving, the lights are bright. You know, just don't get embarrassed. Don't let nobody jump in that little Salvation Army thing no more. You know, but I don't know. But I'm interested if when he has an exit interview. You remember how like in Charlotte with the Panthers, it was a little emotional and stuff like that. I wonder how this one would play out. I really really want to see how this gonna work out, but the time is coming. So I mean it's imminent. May not be on time. As on the timeline, but it's definitely imminent. I definitely think it's gonna happen very very soon.
I
In
just
the
want
next
to
couple of
happen. I
weeks.
just want it to happen sooner, so that way we can give EB the keys and see what he
Yeah,
has. So because what I wouldn't want is to let Rivera finish out the season and then kind of by default give the keys to EB, and then he doesn't pan out. So
yeah,
now next year we're right back where we are now. So that's
yeah,
because I know whether we fire him now or fire him at the end of the season, it's because our season is over. It's because we didn't accomplish
yeah,
what we wanted to. Um, so that's irrelevant to me. And I just want to see what Eric Bieniemy can do with this team.
yeah. And then it'll be a good audition for his next destination
Yep.
because I think in all seriousness, everybody's gone. Josh Harris might replace us. I mean, he cleaned the house. He cleaned the house. Yeah, to
Yeah.
a point where everybody gone. Everybody gonna be gone. So you know, and like you said, it'd be a great audition for him. And hopefully, you know, if they decide, and they might keep him. I mean, it just depends. Like you saw, it's like if he becomes like the OC. I mean, they might potentially keep him. But the way I'm thinking and how most of this goes, everybody goes. So yeah, to a point, yeah. But yeah, I do want to at least give him an opportunity to just see what he can do is from a head coach perspective, and be some good tape for him going forward. And you know, and I think he'll land somewhere because I think you even look at I know a lot of people I mean, he's been successful. I mean, you look at even despite some of our offensive woes. I mean, you've turned Sam Howell to a legitimate uh, starting quarterback in this league. I mean, he's from a statistical standpoint, he's putting up some good numbers. And I know we got some jackasses that are fans and talk about empty calories. No, it's not empty calories. Like the only two games that we were out of was the Bears and the Bills. So I know a lot of people was poo-pooing last week, but I'm like, okay, we were still in that football game to the end. Like, so I'm like, he had to, do what he had to do. So I'm like, but he has turned Sam Howell into an efficient quarterback. He's been your best quarterback since Kirk Cousins. And so that's my opinion on it. So, I know we got a bunch of jackasses, and Lord, let me tell you, there's a ton of Commander fans that are complete jackasses, and I will say that out loud and unapologetically. But yeah. So, all right. So we'll wrap up episode 70. Rob, social media, plug away. What you got?
Y'all already know where you can find me. FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast, Facebook, and Instagram. See you Sunday, this Saturday, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. What else do we got? Overreaction Monday. We actually did it on a Monday this time, which I'm proud of us for that. Go check out our power rankings. We put out our power rankings. Go check those out and argue with your mom in the comments. Cruise Island next week. We're going to be going over NFL officiating, and just how bad it is, how bad it's gotten, and why I think it is, and what my solutions would be. A little bit later tonight, probably around 8:30 Pacific time. If you're into gaming, I will be streaming on Twitch and YouTube Gaming, Dead by Daylight. So if you know what that is or interested in that, definitely go check that out. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, most definitely. And catch my podcast, Couch Coach Live, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, couchcoachlive.com. Social media, Couch Coach. And then also here, commands in the chat. Commanders ITC on social media. Catch us every Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is and I do want to, before we head out, some injury update, but this is more so from a non-Commanders, but he was a former Commander here at Cole Holcomb. Definitely want to wish him prayers up for him. Had a gruesome injury in tonight's game, and Al Michaels quoted, Cole Holcomb was carted off, and Al Michaels, and quote, "This is one of those injuries where we don't need to show the replay." So it was a pretty much gruesome hit. Obviously, Cole Holcomb, former Commander, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So definitely, I want to give him prayers up for him. So, and
I was trying to find that while we were doing it. I saw somebody post about Cole Holcomb, so I was trying to find it while we were doing the show, but I couldn't find the tweet about it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, because Adam Schefter tweeted it out. And then obviously, people reply, and then you see the injury, people that are insensitive in nature. That's how I tell you, man. These internet, man, I swear, man, y'all be having a lot of gravitas in the keyboards. But in IRL, oh, you'll fold like a cheap lawn chair.
And those Twitter fingers be crazy.
Oh, do they? Like, whoa, they sell audacity in those keyboards, huh? But yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. So we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully we'll be back. We'll be back next week, and we have a victory edition of episode 71. But we shall see. But we'll catch you guys next week, and we're out.